addition to being a Redskins fan, I'm also a Chicago Bulls fan, and we've made a lot of perplexing free agent acquisitions over the last 2 weeks. I haven't really been excited about much of what we've done since we traded Derrick Rose, but the one I want to talk about specifically is Dwayne Wade. In the group that we're in, a lot of the Bulls fans have seemed to be pretty upset about it. But outside of that, looking on Twitter, looking on ESPN, so on and so forth, most people seem to be excited about Dwayne Wade coming to Chicago. While I really do appreciate the narrative of him finishing his career at home, that seems to be really cool now that LeBron James has won a championship, Dwight Howard just went home. From a basketball standpoint, to me, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it in any way, shape, form, or fashion. There are two things that I want to highlight with this signing. At the beginning of the offseason, when we traded Derrick Rose, Gar Forman said the Bulls were going to get younger and more athletic. Two of our starters now, well, it depends on who you consider starter. E'Twaun Moore started a lot of games at small forward for us. He's considerably younger than Dwayne Wade. But Dunleavy was technically our starting small forward, and he's a year older than Wade was. So I guess in that we got younger by a year, but not much more athletic. And Derrick Rose is both younger and, at this point, still more athletic than Rajon Rondo. But in doing this, we gave away a lot of our flexibility, a lot of our shooting. We have very little floor space, and if the starting lineup pans out the way people expect it to, with Robin Lopez, Taj Gibson, Jimmy Buckets, Dwayne Wade, and Rajon Rondo as our starters, none of those guys really have, lights out shooting ability. Jimmy Butler can shoot. He's not an outstanding shooter, but he shot 31% from three last year, which isn't great. Actually, Rajon Rondo shot a higher percentage. He shot less threes, but a higher percentage from three last year than Jimmy Butler did. To me, that kind of tells you everything you need to know. He was 36% the year before, which isn't bad, but the reality is I wouldn't consider Jimmy Butler a three-point shooting threat. Dwayne Wade shot 16% last year. He was 7 for 44 throughout the season. That's not good at all. And we really got to figure out some way to stretch the floor. I don't know that Nico is a guy that you want to start just because of his struggles last season, but it also kind of looks like we don't have a choice. We may have to start Nico at the 4 just to make up for the fact that we right now have four guys that'll be starting that can't shoot threes at all, if you count Butler as a shooter. Another thing is you've got three guys on the wing now that averaged 4 assists a game last year or more. Rondo led the league in assists, which sounds good until you think about the fact that all three of those guys had the ball a lot. I don't know that there's enough basketball for Rondo, Butler, and Wade to really play the way that they need to play to be successful. Rondo's assists, I think, are going to be slashed. He may end up averaging 7 or 8 assists, which still isn't bad, but it's a huge drop-off from last year. And Wade his assist numbers are already going down. He hasn't averaged more than 6 assists in 3 years. So we've got a declining guy that's already a bad fit for what we're doing. And one of the things that people, and even our front office said was the most exciting thing about it was his ability to go out and recruit other players. But what free agent has Dwayne Wade recruited to Miami since since LeBron James left? Goran Dragic was the biggest name they got, and he was a trade. So I don't see him being a big time recruiter, especially coming into the offseason. He'll be 35, and there's no history outside of LeBron James to show that he can do it. I'm gonna try not to go too long, so I'm gonna let you guys get into it.
Yeah.
Let's be a Heat fan.
Well, I'll go ahead and go. Anyone who don't know, I'm a huge Dwayne Wade and Heat fan. So I was pissed. I understand him leaving, but I was pissed when Dwayne Wade left and went to Chicago. But I understand. But I understand him going to Chicago because it was home. But as far as basketball sense, it doesn't really make sense to me because you got three guys who command the ball in Rondo, Butler, and Wade. All of them need the ball, so there's not enough ball to go around. you don't have a head coach in Hoiberg who can take the reins and be like, hey, this is what's going to happen. That was what that's what Butler was going on after him earlier in the year last year, because he wouldn't step up and be hard on the guys. Now, what are you going to do with a guy? You can't say nothing to Dwayne Wade. He got 3 titles already. He's 35 years old. What's you going to say to him? You going to tell him something? Rondo hasn't listened to anybody since, Doc Rivers? And I don't think he really listened to Doc. So you going to tell me Hoiberg is going to be able to stop Rondo from doing what he wants to do? And Butler's already shown he has no problem stepping up and saying something about him in the media. So I feel like this collection of talent, while on paper you're like, oh, okay, there might be talent on there, but if it's not cohesive, then it doesn't really matter how good they are. You know what I mean? And then as far as Rondo, I feel like, actually, I'm sorry, not Rondo, Wade, I feel like it's bad because he's my favorite player, like I said, but he has not developed a shot at all. He has relied solely for 13 years on athleticism. And players like that do not last. They don't age well. You have to be able to shoot. You got to be able to add something to the team. Like Ray Allen, people look at Ray Allen now or his last couple years like, oh, he's just a shooter. If you look back to his earlier years, as Purvis said before on one debate before we were talking about, he was that man. Ray Allen did it all. Shooting, dribbling, off the dribble. He do it all. But once you get older, you got to rely on something else. So he started relying on that shot. Just like Jason Kidd. He used to be no J, Asen is no J. But as he got older, he started to develop a better shot. Dwayne Wade has not done that. He has not done that, and it's going to hurt them in the long run. I mean, especially if you look how the game is played today, where everyone's trying to be Golden State, which nobody can be Golden State, but everyone wants to get shooters now. Nobody wants to go down low. You got a bunch of guys who can't shoot in a league where shooting is the most valued thing now. So I think it's bad for Chicago as a whole to have all those players together. But I feel like, what you gonna do now? You're gonna see some serious coaching going on. Have one of them come off the bench. Well, who you gonna tell to come off the bench? Because you damn sure ain't telling D Wade to come off the bench. So.
The Purvis just gonna laugh and move on. Like,
I'm sorry.
I thought he was about to talk.
Right. He unmuted himself literally just so we could hear him laugh.
I want something different because we get it. Y'all got all these players.
Yeah.
Those shots. How do they expect to win? I don't know. I honestly feel like Chicago as an organization, I feel bad for you, Allen, because that's your squad. You got to deal with this. Ain't you a Redskins fan? You got a tough life over there. But Chicago, what they doing, it makes sense to no one but whoever is in their front office. And I don't even think they think it makes sense. I think they're just like, shoot, let's get Chicago back in the mix or something. But there's not going to be a mix. They didn't make any moves to make their team more competitive. They didn't do anything to make you think that in the future we have something. Like you said, they didn't go younger and more athletic. Rondo and D Wade, that doesn't help you get younger and athletic. It's okay if you sacrifice a winning season if we see that you got some potential. They didn't do that. They put together a makeshift squad, kind of like how the Lakers did when they had Karl Malone and Gary Payton back in the day. Except this squad doesn't even have that much talent to make a run for the finals or even the playoffs at that. They still might be able to get in it. It's the East. But you don't give your fan base a lot of hope with what you did. All you did was say, hey, y'all want to buy a Dwayne Wade Bulls jersey? Because we got them now, baby. That's all you gonna get is ticket sales for them jerseys. People gonna buy the jerseys. They're not gonna come to the game. They're gonna buy the jerseys. That's all I'm saying. Throat caught up.
Okay, so I'll point out that I've railed on Bulls fans in our group for years for the delusions of their fans and their front office and for thinking that that they were this that they were this competitive team. I'll say that they were a championship contender up until Derrick Rose's ACL was torn against Philly, unfortunately. I'll say that. So once that happened, they never changed their mindset. They were always trying to retool instead of rebuild, and they were always trying to have these odd fits on their team. And this is really just a continuation of that. I'll bring some stats to the table real quick. According to ESPN's Real Plus Minus, Rondo was 21st among point guards. Wade was 39th among shooting guards. Wade was actually in the negative. Sorry, LRL. And Rondo was like a .30. So we look at it from that perspective. What does that mean? Rondo is a ball stopper. Rondo is a person who will dribble the hell out of the ball, and somebody who won't make the pass as long as it's not directly an assist. So that's going to muck up the offense. Then you look at Wade. Wade is a 3-time champion. Wade's a legend and a Hall of Famer. But Wade's game doesn't match what his ego is now. He still feels like he's superstar in his brain, but he's not a superstar in game now. So because of that, what ends up happening is that I feel like he's going to try to take over the offense, and the ball's going to be taken out of Jimmy's hands. This wasn't a good fit with Rondo there. But then you add Wade to it, another non-shooter, that just makes it work. And I don't want to say Hoiberg is passive. I'll just say that he has not shown that he can command the respect of all of his players. And this looks like a disaster waiting to happen. So I'll just say that I would pencil the Bulls not in the playoffs at this point. Hopefully they could change my mind, but I don't see anything in their roster to suggest that they're going to make the playoffs.
One thing I think that when you do talk about the roster, you look at the roster, I think the guy honestly most affected by Dwayne Wade coming in, I guess the combination of that and Valentine, is Doug McDermott. I don't see how or where he plays now. With Dwayne Wade here, logic would dictate Jimmy Butler starts a small forward, and then you want to get your rookie in after that. So Denzel Valentine, who seems to be a more well-rounded player than McDermott, ends up, to me, being your backup at small forward and possibly seeing some shooting guard minutes. But there's not going to be a lot of minutes for Doug McDermott. And we gave up 2 guys that we absolutely could have used to get him. And I'm really trying not to get too far into it because I don't like this at all. But I agree. I don't see us as a playoff team. I think that this was really done to sell jerseys, like Purvis said. It might sell tickets because of Chicago. I mean, in 2000, when we lost every game, it felt like we still sold out games. We sold out games throughout the majority of our time being terrible. So we may sell out games next year just based off Chicago's crowd being awesome. I don't know if that means folks will stay for the whole game as we down by 30 every night, but I'm really interested to see if this fails. And they even actually called it a retool, which, in my opinion, was extremely arrogant. I feel like it's arrogant to say it's a retool when we were a team that honestly wasn't good enough to make the playoffs last year. To talk about getting 2, guys that are on the way down from age and performance, and talk about that's a retool to get us back into the playoffs.